Morning, Ireland. It's 8:43. We've become sadly accustomed to daily updates of the number of people lost to coronavirus in recent weeks. In double figures almost every day for about a month now. A total of 1,339 so far, each with a name, a lived and lost life and an untypically small funeral. Many of the lost are remembered on Ireland Remembers, which you can find on the RTÉ website. And for many, the website RIP.ie has become the place to notify and learn of recent loss. A record number of death notices were posted to the RIP.ie website last month for many counties. That's according to new analysis carried out by Maynooth University and the University of Limerick. Dublin dominates the numbers with over 1,200 notices posted in April. We can speak now to one of the authors of the report, Dr. Pádraig MacCarron. He's a postdoctoral researcher in applied maths at UL. Dr. MacCarron, good morning. Thanks for taking our call today.
Good morning. Thanks.
Tell us more about what you found.
Yeah, so we looked at the number of death notices posted per county, because we hear a lot about the whole country, or maybe particularly in Dublin. And what surprised us the most was that Cavan and Monaghan in particular had the highest number of deaths posts on record for any month. So Leinster, like Dublin, its commuter belt was also affected quite badly. But like Connacht and Munster weren't hit too badly. There was no new records there.
Yes, so in April, last month, for Dublin, Kildare, Laois, Meath, Louth, Cavan and Monaghan, there were more notices than any month over the last 10 years in those counties.
That's right, yeah. And so for places with very high population density, that's maybe not too surprising from the numbers we've been hearing and the reports we've been getting over the last few weeks. But for example, Monaghan and Kilkenny have the same population density, and Kilkenny's death notices were about the same as 2019 for April, whereas Monaghan was more than twice what it was last year.
Yeah, twice as many death notices posted for Cavan and Monaghan in April than for an average April. Why do you think that was for those two counties in particular? I mean, they're both close to the border, but Donegal's don't seem to show a similar pattern.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to speculate. So again, just for context, I'm an applied mathematician rather than anything else. So I just analyze the numbers. Wouldn't be great at speculating why they're particularly affected. But obviously, they're quite sensitive counties, being close to the border.
Is RIP.ie an accurate reflection of deaths?
Yeah, so we compared with the CSO quarterly data from 2010 to the present. So from about 2014 on, they match up quite well. So often you find RP.ie would be slightly higher because maybe people who died abroad and were from Ireland, that would be posted by a family here. But in general, it correlates quite well with the actual national CSO data from death and mortality.
So how much of a proportion of actual mortality does it represent?
So seemingly it's almost the same as from about 2014 on to present. You'd expect it to be very accurate, like it would catch almost everybody in the country, seemingly, in the Republic anyway.
The only study that we have had which has tried to look at comparing mortality so far has been what was called the Census of Mortality that was carried out in nursing homes and residential care institutions, and this looked at the incidence of deaths from January of this year to the middle of April, and found that particularly in the last number of weeks covered by that study, there had been a doubling of deaths in nursing homes. Yours, to my knowledge, is the only other study which has looked at comparing mortality so far.
Yeah, so actually Seamus Coffey in UCC and Barry Smith in UCD have also been looking at this. What we did differently is we looked at more on a county level. They're looking at a national level, but they've been finding that the last few days that the number of deaths, like officially reported, are fairly accurately represented by death notices. And
can we put this down purely to COVID? Is this simply as a result of one identifiable cause?
Yeah, it seems to be. So the mean number of deaths in April for the last 10 years is about 2,500, whereas the official numbers gave about 1,200 people died in April. So if you add those together, there was only 60 extra deaths and our death notices posted in RIP.ie compared to the average plus the number of deaths from COVID. And in fact, if you added the number of deaths from COVID to last year's number of death notices, that would be about 100 higher than it is now. So it seems like the official numbers are quite representative, and that's the main cause of this excess.
Because of the lack of social networking and the lack of funerals, or sorry, the lack of numbers at funerals rather, are people more likely to post on RIP.ie or other public notifications of deaths than perhaps they would have been previously? As in, there's very little other way of letting people know that they've lost somebody.
That's true, but I think, again, if you look at the data, when you compare the CSO data to RIP.ie in the past, it matches so well that with RIP.ie being slightly higher some years, it looks like that is capturing almost everyone. So I'd say it's actually fairly accurate going back the last 5 years anyway, maybe 6 years. So I don't think it would actually have it just has extra notices because there's a higher number of deaths. I don't think there's going to be any extra that wouldn't have been there previously.
Pádraig MacCarron, Dr. Pádraig MacCarron, postdoctoral researcher in applied maths at UL. Thank you very much for speaking to us on Morning Ireland today. It's almost 10 to 9.